Good evening and welcome to Primetime News. I'm Sandra Ferdinando. Let's start out with a look at your headlines for tonight.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance was awarded the Best Finance Company for the third consecutive year.
The Sirasa Vesak zone will open to the public tomorrow. Sarvaknya relics from Kuragala moved to Kalaniya. IGP appoints special committee to investigate the 4 Sri Lankans who were arrested in India for ISIS links. Dilit ready to debate Anura if Sajit is not ready. UNP General Secretary moves new proposal for a referendum to retain presidency. Iran President Raisi's chief of staff describes downed helicopters' final moments.
Newsfirst headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance was awarded the Best Finance Company for the third consecutive year.
The Sarvaknya relics, which will be held on display at the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone starting tomorrow, are now at the Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya.
A large number of devotees visited the Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya to worship the relics.
A grand procession carrying relics believed to be of Lord Buddha commenced its journey this morning from the Sri Nagarukarama Mahaviharya in Ahaliyagoda. The relics reached the Kaduwela water cutting pier at about 3 p.m. today. The relics were transported by boat along the Kalani river to the Kalaniya Raja Mahaviharya. Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Thennakon joined the event in a display of support. Relics were safely transported to the destination this afternoon with the assistance of the police and the Navy. The relics will be brought to the Sirasa Vesak zone at Braverock Place, Colombo at 2 p.m. tomorrow on Vesak Poya Day. Meanwhile, a separate procession carrying relics believed to be of Sariputta and Mahamoggallana, the 2 chief disciples of the Buddha, from the Agrasravaka Mahaviharya in Maligakanda, Colombo, will arrive at the Sirasa Vesak zone in a procession at 3 p.m. tomorrow. The public can begin venerating the relics at the Sirasa Namami Sirasa Vesak zone starting at 3:30 p.m. tomorrow. Visitors will have the special opportunity to venerate the relics tomorrow and on Friday. For the next 4 days, the Sirasa Vesak zone will come alive with vibrant decorations. Visitors can expect to see beautiful pandals, lanterns and enjoy devotional songs and puppet shows. Preparations are already underway at the Sirasa headquarters to ensure a festive atmosphere. Adding to the festivities, the Department of Archaeology will also be holding an exhibition at the Sirasa Vesak zone this year. The police and Colombo Municipal Council are also working together to ensure a colourful Sirasa Namami Vesak zone.
Inspector General of Police Deshabandhu Thennakon appointed a committee to investigate the 4 Sri Lankans who were apprehended at Ahmedabad airport in India on suspicion of affiliating with the ISIS and planning to launch an attack in India.
Police spokesperson DIG Nihal Thalduwa stated that the committee is chaired by the DIG of the Criminal Investigation Department and the Director of the Police Terrorism Investigation Division.
4 ISIS terrorists were arrested in Ahmedabad on Monday, days after the city airport received a bomb threat. The terrorists, who are Sri Lankan nationals, were arrested by the Gujarat Anti-Terrorism Squad after a tip-off. Giving details of the operation to arrest the 4 ISIS terrorists, police said multiple teams were formed after the officials received information that the suspects were planning to travel to Ahmedabad to carry out terror attacks in India. Director General of Police in Gujarat, Vikas Sahe, said these 4 terrorists had boarded an Indigo flight bound for Ahmedabad from Chennai yesterday. He said the arrests were made after checking the list of passengers coming from the southern region and getting their identities confirmed by officials in Colombo. On the 12th of May, the Ahmedabad airport received a bomb threat email which turned out to be a hoax after security personnel searched the airport complex, but nothing suspicious was found. The threat email was sent by an unidentified person on the official email ID of the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in the afternoon, following which the security personnel at the airport scanned the entire airport. These are the 4 suspects arrested by Indian detectives. 33-year-old Mohammad Nusrat from Periyamulla Negombo, 27-year-old Mohammad Nafran from Grand Pass, Colombo, 35-year-old Mohammad Farish from Maligavatta, Colombo, and 43-year-old Mohammad Rashdin from Colombo 13. Interestingly, 27-year-old Mohammad Nafran has been identified as the son of Niaz Naufar, also known as Potta Naufar, the notorious underworld criminal who was sentenced to death for the killing of High Court Judge Saratambe Pittier. Investigations have also revealed that Nafran dropped out of school and commenced a business by travelling to India, purchasing clothing material and returning to Sri Lanka to sell it. In 2017, Nafran was arrested by Sri Lanka police for a charge filed under the National Gem and Jewellery Authority Act. In addition, detectives have uncovered that Nafran also frequented India and Dubai for business. Investigation carried out by the Indian police has revealed more details. Indian police said the 4 men had been in touch with a man named Abu in Pakistan through social media. Indian police added that Abu encouraged them to carry out a terror attack in India. India's The Hindu reported that the 4 Sri Lankans who were arrested belonged to the National Tawhid Jamaat organization. The National Tawhid Jamaat organization is a group that was led by Zaharan Hashim, who carried out the brutal Easter Sunday terror attacks in Sri Lanka in 2019. Indian detectives suspect that the group may have been planning to carry out an attack at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad, which is hosting the IPL games. Indian media also reported that the ISIS terrorists planned to assassinate senior Bharatiya Janata Party leaders Nubur Sharma, Raja Singh and Updesh Rana. The Indian media reported that details with regard to these plots were uncovered when extracting information from the mobile phones used by these suspects. Police said that after scanning their mobile phones, they found photographs of some weapons and location data of Nana Chiloda near Ahmedabad. The Gujarat ATS later recovered 3 Pakistani pistols and 20 cartridges, as indicated in the photographs from the Nana Chiloda area. Moreover, the ISIS flag was also recovered, and the detained Sri Lankans disclosed that they were instructed to raise the flag after carrying out the attacks. The Indian police added that Abu encouraged them to carry out a terror attack in India and that they were so radicalized that they also agreed to suicide bombing, as Pakistan resident Abu gave them 400,000 rupees in Sri Lankan currency. The security at the Ahmedabad airport has been increased as the 4 Sri Lankan men have been detained at an undisclosed location. Comments on the matter were expressed in Parliament as well.
Do we have a threat from ISIS? According to an intelligence report, Sri Lankans have been arrested and a person named Abu from Pakistan had funded them.
පාකිස්තානයේ අබු කියන පුද්ගලයා තමයි මේ මුදල් දීලා තියෙන්නේ ගරු සභාපතිතුමා. ඉතින් මේ ලංකාවේ National Tawhid Jamaat.
They are members of the National Tawhid Jamaat, an organization that we proscribed. It took them very little time to become extreme. They were given 400,000 rupees. The danger here is that it took them just months to take part in a suicide attack and extremism.
පුළු මාස 3-4කින් වගේ කාලයකින් පුළුවන් අන්තවාදයට නැත්නම් මරාගෙන මරන ක්‍රියාවලට සහභාගී වෙන්න. ඉන්දියාවේ ප්‍රමුඛතම නිවුස් එකක් බවට එවන
This has become the leading news in India. The extremists have not abandoned their cause. While also speaking of the Easter attacks, we need to be focused on ending Muslim extremism. These terrorists may likely carry out something dangerous. Therefore, as a country, we need to be vigilant.
අපි මීට වඩා රටක් විදියට මෙන්න මේ පිළිබඳව අවධානය යොමු කරන්න ඕන.
Leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Zaid Ali Khamenei, has led prayers over the bodies of President Ibrahim Raisi and his companions in Tehran as millions of people gathered to hold funeral procession.
Ayatollah Khamenei performed the prayers in a ceremony at the University of Tehran on Wednesday morning before a funeral procession in the capital city. Leader of the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, noted that the tragic incident happened when Raisi and his team were making an attempt to serve the Iranian people.
اللهم إنا لا نعلم منهم وترحم على محمد وآل محمد وأنت أعلم بهم منا.
Innumerable Iranian people, heads of government branches and military officials took part in the procession. More than 40 high-ranking foreign delegations will participate in the ceremony to commemorate the martyrdom of President Raisi, their companions in Tehran. Among the foreign participants, approximately 10 delegations will be at the level of heads of state, nearly 20 delegations at the level of ministers, and the rest at various levels such as parliament speakers, special envoys and so on. The bodies of President Raisi and his companions were transferred to Tehran's Mehrabad airport on Tuesday after a funeral in the northwestern city of Tabriz. President Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian, Tabriz Friday prayer leader Muhammad Ali al-Hashim and Governor of East Azerbaijan province Malik Rahmati were returning from a dam opening ceremony in Iran's border with the Republic of Azerbaijan on Sunday when their helicopter crashed in mountainous areas in the Varzagan region. 2 bodyguards, 2 pilots and a crew member were also killed in the incident.
Details surrounding the crash that killed Iran's president and 8 others have emerged following a television interview. The head of administration of the Iranian president Gholam Hossein Ismaili, who accompanied Ibrahim Raisi in another helicopter, said that the weather at the time of the plane crash was favorable and one of the passengers of the crashed helicopter was alive for several hours.
Iran's presidential chief of staff has revealed more details about the helicopter crash which led to the martyrdom of President Ibrahim Raisi, Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian and 2 top local officials. Gholam Hossein Ismaili said in an interview with the state TV that weather conditions in Iran's Varzakan region, where President Raisi's copter crashed, was perfect at the start and during most of the flight that took place a day earlier. Ismaili was in one of the 3 helicopters that were returning from a dam inauguration ceremony on Iran's border with the Republic of Azerbaijan. He said that the helicopters had taken off at around 1 p.m. local time on the 19th of May, while weather condition in the area was normal. After 45 minutes into the flight, the pilot of President Raisi's helicopter, who was in charge of the convoy, ordered other helicopters to increase altitude to avoid a nearby cloud. However, the president's helicopter, which was flying between the 2 others, suddenly disappeared. Ismaili said that after 30 seconds of flying above the clouds, their pilot noticed that the helicopter in the middle had disappeared, adding that the pilot decided to circle and return to search for the president's helicopter. Ismaili said that after several attempts to contact the president's helicopter through radio devices, and while it was unable to decrease altitude because of the clouds, their helicopter continued its flight and landed at a nearby copper mine. He said that Foreign Minister Amir Abdullahian and head of President's Protection Unit didn't respond to repeated calls afterwards. The official said that, however, pilots of the 2 other helicopters had contacted Captain Mostafavi, who was in charge of the president's helicopter, but the one that took the call was Tabriz Friday prayer leader Muhammad Ali al-Hashim, whose situation was not good, but said the copter had crashed into a valley. Ismaili himself made a second contact with al-Hashim and received the same answers about the situation. Ismaili said that the conditions of the bodies indicated that Ayatollah Raisi and other companions had died instantly, but al-Hashim had been martyred after several hours. A minute of silence was observed in Parliament today in memory of President Ibrahim Raisi and his entourage, who were killed in a helicopter crash on Sunday.
I would like to take this opportunity to express our deepest sympathies and condolences on the sudden demise of His Excellency the President of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Dr. Said Ibrahim Raisi, and also the Foreign Minister, His Excellency Dr. Hossein Amirab Dolahalan, and altogether 8 members who were in that particular helicopter passed away due to an accident. So I think all of us, members of the Sri Lankan Parliament, I propose that we unanimously express our deepest sympathies and our heartfelt condolences to the acting President Mohammad Mokbar and acting Foreign Minister Ali Bagheri Khani, and also to the families, the members of the families of all those who unfortunately perished in this crash.
අපි යෝජනාවක් කරනවා මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ විනාඩියක නිශ්ශබ්දතාවයක් යෝජනා කරනවා ඊට පස්සේ වැඩ කටයුතු වලට යන් කියලා.
Parliamentarian Kabir Hashim commented on the Mana wind power project in Parliament.
අදානි සමාගමේ සුළං බලාගාර ව්‍යාපෘතිය පිළිබඳව මම යෝජනා කරා.
I move a motion on the wind power project that will be carried out by Adani Group. I stress that we should not reach an agreement with regard to the pricing, the power purchasing agreement. We called for delay in signing the agreement. Thereafter, bids for the 50 megawatt power plant project by the CEB in the Mana Peninsula were to be opened on the 17th of May. We believe that the bid offer is less than 7 US cents. We proposed that the 8 US cents rate proposed by Adani can be further reduced. However, we were told that some officials had exerted pressure to terminate the bid opening that took place on the 17th for the 50 megawatt project. The minister must question why the bids were not opened. We believe that the rate can go below 6 US cents. We believe that there is an attempt to block it. 3 bidders have already completed the technical evaluation for the project, and what was left was the opening of the bids. It is a question for us as to why it was stopped at that point. We could have saved $1.5 billion with the rate reduction. We could have saved 10% of the total ISB holdings.
ඒ කියන්නේ සමස්ත ජාත්‍යන්තර ස්වෛරීය බැඳුම් කර ණය වලින් 10% අපිට ඉතුරු වෙනවා.
Leader of the Maubima Janata Party, Dilip Jayawira, said today if opposition leader Sajith Premadasa is not willing to be a part of the Anura Sajith debate, he is willing to join instead.
දැන් එතුමා ආරාධනා කළා තියෙනවා රාහිංසක රාජකීය විද්‍යාලයේ ආදි ශිෂ්‍යෙක් වෙච්ච Sajith Premadasa mahathayata.
Sajith Premadasa, an innocent old boy of Royal College Colombo, has been challenged to a debate. He is innocent. Why disturb him? Anru Kumara and I are of the same age, although he graduated after me. We both are double degree holders. We both can be considered intellectuals in this society. Tell him that Dilip Jayawira is ready to face the debate that Sajith was backing out of. I promise not to ask him any tough questions or question him about his lavish clothing, business class trips and personal life. However, I can ask him about the snakes, the tonic and antigens. I can also provide the answers to those questions. Dilip Jayawira is ready for a debate, the debate that Sajith is not willing to come for.
Sajith noena vivadeta Dilip.
Will the presidential election or the general election come first? The discussion is ongoing. Now today at the Presidential Media Centre, State Minister Arundika Fernando confirmed that the President has clearly stated that the presidential election will be held first.
What's the next election?
The President recently summoned the State Minister and made it clear. Recently, we witnessed some opposition factions placing bets on the next election, claiming that the general election will be held first and not a presidential election. However, the presidential election must come first in the country. The President aims to hold the presidential election at the appropriate time.
Earlier today, former Ambassador Udayanga Veeratunga announced on social media that the president has responded to the request for a general election before the presidential election. Additionally, he noted that Ranil Wickremesinghe and Basil Rajapaksa have already agreed to dissolve parliament on the 10th of August 2024. Notably, Udayanga Veeratunga emphasized that this parliamentary election will be held first. Parliamentarian Tissa Kuttiarachchi expressed the following at the official SLPP press conference.
Instead of the power being centralized to one person and then that power to be decentralized at divisional level, it is wise to call for general elections to obtain the proper mandate of the people. No matter what election comes first, that is not an issue for the SLPP. We are ready for both the presidential election and the parliamentary election.
The time is ideal to showcase that the country is stable and that governance is also stable, so that the world can have faith on us. If they decide that those in parliament are not suitable, there's no problem with going for a parliamentary election ahead of the presidential poll. However, we must hand over this country to the president for another 5 years so that he can uplift the country.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ එකඟතාවය ආව නම් ජනමත විචාරණයකට යන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකට තරම් වියදම් යන බැරෑරුම්කාරයන් නෙවෙයි.
SJB MP Tushara Indunil shares a different perspective.
We have concerns that an attempt will be made to hold some other election at a time when constitutionally we have several months more for the presidential election.
The Economic Transformation Bill and Public Financial Management Bill were tabled in Parliament today. It includes many provisions to create a favourable environment for investors and public financial management.
However, is the Podujana Peramuna, which holds majority power in the government, in agreement with these drafts?
If the bill includes anything unfavourable for the country, we will discuss that with the government and make necessary changes to it. The BOI or Board of Investment cannot be sold, however, it must be restructured. In order to attract more investors, the procedure of obtaining approval must be shortened. Also, if incentives are given for foreign investors, there should be a program in place to provide local investors with the incentives as well.
Various opinions on the newly tabled Economic Transformation Bill and Public Financial Management Bills were expressed in Parliament today.
The country went bankrupt as the Financial Management Act was messed up after the Ranil Wickremesinghe government was ousted in 2004. In order for this to avoid this from happening again, there are 3 proposals concerning debt restructuring included in this bill. It aims to bring Sri Lanka's outstanding debt to 95% by 2032. Regardless of who is in power, the government's fiscal requirement in a year cannot exceed 13% of the gross domestic product. We can never obtain loans. Debt servicing, loan installments and interest can only be paid up to 0.4% or 0.5% of the gross domestic product. It cannot be exceeded no matter who governs the country at any point. Depending on whether you agree or disagree with 3, it will go to show if you are fit to govern the country or not. The Economic Transformation Bill cuts a clear path for our country, which is a republic to be made a colony once again. What exactly does this act do? It makes the selfish decisions of the government state decisions. You cannot say that there is no turning back now. The people have the mandate to change this all. If the people think that they need a new government, they should have the power to change it. These 2 bills are politically incorrect. The Economic Transformation Act includes clauses on the fiscal policy and how the government should take political decisions. It is like an election manifesto. We will not legalize things included in a manifesto. We will have to discard this as the first bill of the next parliament.
ඊළඟ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ පළවෙනි පනත් කෙටුම්පත විදියට මේක කුණු කූඩේට විසි කරන්න වෙනවා. මේ ජනාධිපතිවරණයේ අභියස දේශපාලන
They are trying to fulfill political motives at the brink of an election. Their words and actions do not align. Do not do this to the country. We are tabling these 2 bills in order to prevent the country from going back to the dark past. If anyone opposes these bills, that means they are suggesting that the country should be taken back to the times people were in endless queues. The government is ready to develop the economy if the bills are passed.
This is what the NPP had to say.
No Sri Lankans, whether within the country or abroad, have protested against the existence of the Board of Investment as an office for international trade. How many have called for a Sri Lankan Economic Commission instead? The government's sudden move to convene Parliament and pass the Economic Transformation Bill as an emergency measure is concerning. This wasn't what anyone demanded. There is a limited time for opposition if the next party to challenge the bill is a political party, a citizens' organisation or a trade union. Public holidays are approaching, including Vesak, which will likely divert people's attention. This haste in pushing a national economic policy through Parliament raises questions. What authority does Ranil Wickremesinghe, lacking a clear mandate, have to introduce such a significant bill?
තියෙන්නේ රටේ ආර්ථිකය පිළිබඳව මෙතරම් බරපතල තීරණ ගැනීමේ පනතක් පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගේන්න.
News first with the people.
India's Adani Group is suspected of fraud of selling low-grade coal as high-level fuel to the Indian state power company.
The Adani Group passed off low-quality coal as far more expensive, cleaner fuel in transactions with an Indian state power utility, according to evidence seen by the Financial Times that throws fresh light on allegations of a long-running coal scam. The document secured by the Organised Crime and Corruption Reporting Project, or OCCRP, and reviewed by the Financial Times, add a potential environmental dimension to accusations of corruption associated with the Indian conglomerate. They suggest that Adani may have fraudulently obtained bumper profits at the expense of air quality, since using low-grade coal for power means burning more of the fuel. Invoices show that in January 2014, Adani purchased an Indonesian shipment of coal said to contain 3,500 calories per kilogram. The same shipment was sold to the Tamil Nadu Generation and Distribution Company as 6,000 calorie coal, one of the most valuable grades. Adani appears to have more than doubled its money in the process after transport costs. The Financial Times has also matched documentation for a further 22 shipments in 2014 involving the same parties that indicates a pattern of grade inflation in the supply of 1.5 million tons of coal. Adani sourced the coal in Indonesia from a mining group known for its low-calorie output at prices consistent with low-grade fuel. It delivered the coal to India's southernmost state for power generation, fulfilling a contract that specified expensive, high-quality fuel. The latest revelations come as Adani seeks to rebrand itself into a big renewable energy player, including by building one of the world's largest wind and solar parks in Kabda, near the Pakistan border. The group, which denies any wrongdoing, remains one of India's biggest importers of coal.
The Department of Meteorology forecasts very heavy showers of about 150 millimeters at some places in the western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Kandy and Nuwara districts. Heavy showers are likely at some places in the northwestern province and in Mana, Gaul and Mathura districts.
4 deaths owing to the adverse weather conditions were reported during the past 24 hours. One of the fatalities involved a 39-year-old mother of 1 who died on the Madampe Kuliapitiya road when a tree fell onto her motorcycle. Another woman in Pilakatumula Nathandia suffered a similar fate when a tree crashed onto her motorcycle while she was riding with her father. He sustained serious injuries and is currently being treated at the Maravilla Base Hospital. The deceased woman was 36 years old and leaves behind a child. Meanwhile, the highest rainfall of 155.2 millimeters in the past 24 hours was reported from Karagala. The Disaster Management Centre said over 67,591 people across 15 districts have been impacted by the floods. 1,854 people have sought refuge in designated evacuation centres. The Department of Irrigation said that the Kudaganga and the Attanagaluya, a tributary of the Kaluganga, are at minor flood levels. SPC Sugishwara, director of the hydrology unit, warns that water levels in the Kaluganga, Nilvala and Kalani rivers are also rising. Director of the Water Management Division of the Irrigation Department, Vimal Ratnasiri Landekumbura, says 12 reservoirs are expected to overflow due to the showers. Currently, 42,546 people in Puttalam's 11 regional secretariat divisions are affected by the floods. Several houses in Nathandia have also been inundated. The release of water from a sluice gate of the Kukulengaga reservoir has caused flooding of many main and by roads in Bulat Sinhala.
As
the southwest monsoon intensifies across Sri Lanka, expect rainy and windy conditions to persist for the next few days. Today, the western, Sabaragamu, central, northwestern and the Galle and Mathura districts can expect rain at any time. In the Sabaragamu province and Nuwara in the Kandy district, there is a possibility of heavy rainfall exceeding 100 millimeters in some areas. Be vigilant of strong winds across the country, particularly impacting the western slopes of the central mountains.
Valuable Finance was awarded the Best Finance Company for the third consecutive year.
Welcome back to the news. A briefing on the Temple to Temple diplomacy program launched in 2023 by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, fostering cultural understanding and cooperation across the region, took place in Colombo.
This diplomacy program resulted in the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between the All-Island Buddha Sasana Council of Sri Lanka and the Vietnam Buddhist Sangha of Vietnam.
Sri Lanka and Vietnam has very good political relationship. We need to expedite the people-to-people relationship. As you are aware, Vietnam is a country of about 100 million people. So I am very happy that Her Excellency the Ambassador has taken this initiative to bring the clergies of the two countries together. And I truly do believe that if the Buddhists in the South Asia and Southeast Asia collaborate and work together, that we can bring more closeness, and through that closeness we can have cultural exchanges, and we can also have economic exchanges.
The launch of Escape, Stories of Survivors, produced by Seva Lanka Foundation's Anonymous Productions for Leeds, was held in Colombo yesterday.
Escape, Stories of Survivors, produced by Seva Lanka Foundation's Anonymous Productions for Leeds, is a powerful, poignant play centered around the real-life narratives of 5 victims of child sexual abuse in Sri Lanka. This event marks the commencement of a vital fundraising campaign aimed at providing support to victims of such abuse and raising awareness about this critical issue. Director of the play, Radhika Ranavira, shared a few insights of the play.
There were 5 stories based on real life events of children who have been abused by people they thought they could trust. The main aim here is to create a conversation and awareness of a subject that we rarely talk about, a subject that people shy away from just because it is horrible and people are just too shy to talk about it. Shame aside, we intend to bring these important topics to light, to have them see the raw emotion and the horrible things that could happen to people they know and love. By creating this kind of discomfort, we hope that we can create a conversation, a dialogue, and even action at some point or down the line where child sexual abuse can be prevented and people can be educated to help these people, the little children who have been abused and are survivors of this abuse, to make them better citizens and help them along in their life as well. And I must say that the proceeds from this play will go directly to support survivors of child abuse. Through Leeds, they have selected 2,000 children who have had this extreme trauma, and they will be receiving school supplies, books, bags, pencils, whatever they need to go back to school and learn for the year 2025. So all of this is done for a very good cause.
The play Escape, Stories of Survivors will go on stage on the 4th and 9th of June 2024 at the Lionel Went from 7:30 p.m. onwards.
Sri Lanka police clarified circumstances surrounding the traffic stop that has gone viral on social media.
A video circulated across social media where a driver was fined for not being able to provide documents proving ownership of the vehicle as it was being driven in the Sabargamu province but registered to an individual in the central province. The driver questions whether it is prohibited to drive a vehicle between provinces, stating that he hasn't committed any traffic violations. This incident has sparked confusion among the public.
අපිට කියන්නේ නුවරින් පිට වාහන පදින්න බැරිද ඒක අනුංග වාහන කරන්නේ මේක මෙලියා පංචායතික රෝයා නෙමෙයිනේ ඔව් මේක ලියන්නේ සම්පූර්ණ කරනවා ඒ කියන්නේ ඒකෝරයා මේ ගෙනල් පෙන්නන්නේ මේක අයිතිකාරයා කවුද ඊට පස්සේ වාහනේ ඇතුළට දැම්මම පස්සේ එයාට මේ වාහනේ උදාහරින්න වෙන්නේ ලියා පංචායතිකරුට ඒ කියන්නේ මිස් දැන් මම වරදක් කරේ නෑනේ ඔය වරදක් කරේ නැහැ ඔව් ඒතකොට මොකද්ද ඔගේ වරද මට කියන්න ඕ පැහැදිලිව සන්තිකේ පවර නොගැනීම තමයි වරද. ඒ කියන්නේ මිස් අපට අනුංග වාහනයක් හයරකටවත් තරයි යන්න බැරිද? ඉතින් අරයි යන්න ඕනේ පොත අරව මේ ඔක්කොම තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ කියන්නේ වාහනේ පොතට තමයි මිස් දුන් වාර්තාවක් ලයිසන් ඉන්ෂුරන්ස් එකක් දෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට අපි පොතකුත් තරයි යන්න ඕනද ගමනක් යද්දි? පොත අරයි යන්න ඕනේ අනිවාර්යයෙන්. වාහනේ අරයි යනකොට. ඒ කියන්නේ මිස් මේ පොතක් අරයි යන්න ඕනේ අපිනේ. වාහනේ පොත අරයි. ඒතකොට ලයිසන්
Traffic Director SSP Manoj Ranagala, speaking to local media, said that there are no restrictions travelling within Sri Lanka as long as you have a valid driving licence, insurance and vehicle registration up to date. SSP Ranagala also said that the driver in the video misunderstood the situation. The officer wasn't pulling him over for driving between provinces, but because she questioned the ownership transfer as the names on the vehicle registration and insurance did not match.
Day 16 of the third phase of the LOLC Divi Savya program, which is being carried out for the betterment of Sri Lanka's future generation, got underway today.
Under the Divi Savya program, exercise books and stationery equipment required for 1 year are distributed free of charge to government schools with less than 150 students. Today's program was centered around the Anuradhapura and Thamuttegama education zones in the Anuradhapura district. Accordingly, school bags and stationery equipment were donated to students of the Yaya Dahaya Takshila Vidyalaya, Alutwava Galmaduwa Vidyalaya, Handungama Vidyalaya, Kovil Badavava Muslim Vidyalaya, Mavattegama Primary School, Nabadagasvava Vidyalaya and the Talgahavava Muslim Vidyalaya. School books and stationery equipment were also distributed to students at the Anuradhapura Zonal Education Office this morning. The LOLC Divi Savya program continues to forge ahead for the future generation of Sri Lanka.
It's one of those things you dream about but you don't expect to get it.
Did you want to become an actress when you were a kid?
Yeah, 100%. Ever since I was a child, ever since I can remember.
Newbies that get into the industry have a passion for their career, at the same time are very into social causes.
I mean, as cliche as it sounds, be the change that you would wish to see in the world.
How did you go from acting to country actors?
I mean, we can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone.
Out now on Newsfirst social media platforms.
On to news overseas. Norway, Ireland and Spain said on Wednesday they would recognize a Palestinian state, a historic but largely symbolic move that further deepens Israel's isolation more than 7 months into its grinding war against Hamas in Gaza.
Palestinians welcomed the announcement from Norway, Ireland and Spain as an affirmation of their decades-long quest for statehood in East Jerusalem, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip, territories Israel seized in the 1967 Mid-East War and still controls.
Our step today, taken with Norway and Spain, is a further recognition of the legitimate right to statehood. It is a statement of unequivocal support for a two-state solution, the only credible path to peace and security for Israel, for Palestine, and for their peoples.
While some 140 countries, more than 2/3 of the United Nations, recognize a Palestinian state, Wednesday's cascade of announcement could build momentum at a time when even close allies of Israel have piled on criticism for its conduct in Gaza. It was the second blow to Israel's international reputation this week after the chief prosecutor of the International Criminal Court said he would seek arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his defense minister. The International Court of Justice is also considering allegations of genocide that Israel has strenuously denied. Israel recalled its ambassadors to 3 countries and summoned their envoys, accusing the Europeans of rewarding the militant Hamas group for its 7th of October attack that triggered the war. Netanyahu's government, which is opposed to Palestinian statehood, says the conflict can only be resolved through direct negotiations, which last collapsed over 15 years ago. The international community has long viewed the creation of Palestinian state alongside Israel as the only realistic way to resolve the conflict, and in past weeks several European Union countries have indicated they plan to recognize a Palestinian state to further those efforts.
Up next is our sports news segment, Road to the World Cup.
The ICC T20 World Cup.
Sri Lanka's T20 captain Wanindu Hasaranga currently holds the record for the most wickets taken in a single T20 World Cup cricket tournament. Hasaranga's masterful bowling display came during the 2021 World Cup held jointly by Oman and the United Arab Emirates. He claimed a staggering 16 wickets at an impressive economic rate of 156 runs. Sri Lanka also boasts the second place record holder Ajantha Mendis, who took 15 wickets in 147 runs in the 2012 T20 World Cup. While Hasaranga reigns supreme for most wickets in a single tournament, he also secured a third place for most wickets overall in a T20 World Cup during the last tournament hosted by Australia. In that outing, he bagged 15 wickets in 199 runs.
Because life is giving and taking, unity and enough collaborating. You see the boundaries that we breaking, when we should have been celebrating.
The ICC T20 World Cup.
And with that, we wrap up news for tonight.
Thank you for watching. Good night.